Now we'll move on to lists. We can think of a list as a sequence, and like a string, a list is a sequence of values. So we already talked about strings, and we already know that a string is a sequence of characters. However, the list can be a sequence of any type. So the values in the list are called elements or sometimes items. And we can store anything we want, such as strings, elements such as integers, floating point numbers, or boolean, or even lists. Another list, so it will be a list inside the bigger list. So this is a general idea of a list. Now how we can create it. So first thing we're going to do is when creating a list is to use the square brackets. And in this case, let's suppose we want to create a list called list. It will be equal to some elements such as car, house, and TV. And the list is a collection which is ordered and changeable. So this collection is ordered from car, house, TV. If we print out this list, we're going to get car, house, TV, and we can always change the order of these items in this list. Let's run this code. I didn't print it out. Let me just print our list. Let's now run this code one more time. We are going to get TV. I'm sorry, here we have two square brackets. We're going to get car, house, TV. So this is our list, and we can always add something here. For example, an integer. Let me run this code. We are going to get the same. We can store both types here. Let me add a floating point number 20.5 and another list inside. So it will be a list of numbers. Let's close it. And this is it basically. So here we stored a car that is a string, 20 that is an integer, 20.5 floating point, 1 to another list inside our bigger list, and finally another string. Run this code. We're going to get the car 20.512 TV without errors. So using list, we can enter any type we want without getting any error. Now, whenever we have a list within a list, this is called a nested list. And one more thing to add here is if we create an empty list, let's suppose we are naming it empty, we can simply use the curly brackets, and if we print out empty, we're going to get an empty list without any elements inside it. So we can create an empty list. We're not going to get any error if we try to print it out. So Python is going to just print out curly brackets indicating that we have no elements in this list until now. Now, let's suppose I have another list, for example, the list of numbers list, it will be equal to 1, 3, 5, 7. And in this case, we are going to talk about how to access the items in this list. So here, this is our list containing 4 elements, and we are going to access one of the elements the same way we did using the strings. So the list indices work the same way as string indices. So for example, if I want to use the number 3 and this 3 is at index 1, and I can simply print out list at position 1 on this code. I'm going to get list is not defined, I'm sorry, it is not capital L, and here we forgot the equal operator. Let's run this code. We're going to get the number 3 since 3 is at position 1. Remember that the indices work as 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. And if we attempt to use the negative indexing, so let's run this code. We are going to get the number 7. We're going to start with the last element and going backward one element at a time. Now, let's suppose I want to use the index 5 and we clearly do not have this element here since our list contains only 4 elements and I'm attempting to use the element at index 5. We are going to get the index error list index out of range. So this is it basically for accessing the items in the list. Now, what will happen if we attempt to change an item in this list? We already said that strings are not mutable and we cannot change any character in the string. However, we can create a new string, add whatever we want from the older string, and add some characters of our own. However, in the list, we can change any item we want. So lists are mutable. So unlike strings, list is mutable because we can change the order of the items as well as reassigning an item in a list. So for example here, we have a list of elements 1, 3, 5, 7, and let's suppose I want to change the number 5 into 6. So simply, I would reassign the element at position, in this case 5 is at position 2, so list at 2 will be equal to 6. Now if we print out this list one more time, we're going to get 1, 3, 6, 7. So what did Python do here? It just modified whatever we have at position 2, and here we have the number 5. It changed it to the number 6. So this is it basically to how we can change or reassign numbers in the list. Now let's move on to slicing. We can specify a range of indexes by specifying where to start and where to end the range, and a new list with the specified items will be returned. So for example, if I have a list of elements such as numbers, in this case 1, 3, 5, 7, and I want to create a new list just of 2 elements, in this case I'm going to pick up 3 and 5. So I want a new list starting with 3 and ending with 5. So to do that, we can use the slicing. So for example, let's create a new list called L, and in this case, it will be the same as list. However, it will start at position 1 and end at position 2. And however, if I type 2, it will end 2 minus 1, so I'm going to only get this number 3. So I will push it by 1, and now if I print out L, I'm going to get 3 and 5. So 1 starting with 1, this is the position 1, and ending with 3, 3 excluded. So 1 and 2, we're going to get 3 and 5. Now one more thing here, for example, if I type 1 and whatever we have after this, we're simply going to get 3, 5, 7. So we're just extracting 1 or deleting 1 from the list. So we're creating L, a new list, which will be having 3, 5, 7 as elements. And same thing here, if I typed 2, I'm going to get the first 2 elements in this list, 1 and 2, and I'm just ignoring everything after the number 2. And if I just type these columns, I'm going to get the whole list. Uh, writing this will simply return whatever we have in this list. So we're going to get all the elements available for us. And the last thing we're going to do is to change 2 numbers at a time. So here, for example, if we want to change the number 3 and 4 in the list, list will be at position 2, 0 and I'm sorry, 1 and 2. We're going to change them to these 0 and 0. Let's print this list. We're going to get 1, 0, 0, 5. So I'm sorry, here we need to add 3, and we're going to get 1, 0, 0, 7. So what did we do here? We just changed the list that is between 3 and 5, here between 1 and 3. So the element at position 1, the element at position 2, excluding the element at position 3. So we're going to change 3 and 5 to 0 and 0, and then we print it out. So this is it for this video. In the next video, we're going to talk about the in operator and how to traverse a list. See you in the next one.